Growing up in the 1960s and 1970s meant growing up with the civil rights movement, hearing the words of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and finding equality for both whites and African Americans in our country. In the Newbery Honor book, Brown Girl Dreaming, Jacqueline Woodson brings us to this point in our history with her poetic literary biography of her own youth. Living with her mother and father, Marianne and Jack Woodson, her grandparents, Georgina and Gunnar Irby, and her sisters and brother, Dell, Hope, and Roman, the family moved between the North and the South states of New York and South Carolina. Living in both of these states gave Jackie a comparative experience as her awareness of social inequalities grew. Set in a time where great changes were happening in our country, Jackie is spurred to also find great change in herself as she discovers what her talent in life is. My personal opinion of this book was that I loved it. This book tackles the big issue of social injustice that once ruled our nation, yet being wrote from a child's innocent perspective, it does this in a gentle or subtle way. In the poem titled At the End of the Day, Woodson writes about the different treatment of workers at the printing press her father and grandfather worked. With the innocent voice of young Jackie, the lack of innocence that this injustice has almost seems to be heightened to a point where you want to stand up and march too. I'll read to you a part from my favorite poem in this book. This poem is read early on and sets the stage for what is to come in the rest of the book. I do not know if I'll be strong like Ruby. I do not know what the world will look like when I am finally able to walk, speak, write. Another Buckeye, the nurse says to my mother. Already I am being named for this place. Ohio, the Buckeye State. My fingers curl into fists, automatically. This is the way, my mother said, of every baby's hand. I do not know if these hands will become Malcolm's, raised and fisted, or Martin's, open and asking, or James's, curled around a pen. I do not know if these hands will be Rose's, or Ruby's, gently gloved and fiercely folded, calmly in a lap on a desk around a book, ready to change the world. I enjoy this poem in particular because of the power that can be found in it. The people referenced in it and the strong word choice allow the reader to understand that something greater than a child's second day on earth is happening here, and with the questioning of her role in it all, that something even greater will happen. I would recommend this book to anyone ages 10 to 110, and to anyone who is concerned or interested in equality, the civil rights movement, American history, biographies, poems, or simply reading a good book. This book is bound to become a reading requirement in many schools as it tells a powerful story that all should hear. Reviewers of the book say that Woodson's writing is done with such immediacy that the reader will feel as though they are experiencing Jackie's childhood right along with her. If you haven't already read this book, pick up a copy and find yourself in a time stirring with civil rights and equality. Who knows, as Jackie finds herself, maybe even you will too.